under rest, I've been so gone. Need to escape the daily race. Just wanna sit and find my place. Weekends here, the wait is done. No more stress, no need to run. Gonna grab my mic tonight, find the time to speak it right. No more talk of work or pain. Just good vibes and laughs again. Chilling hard and speaking true. Hanging out with Ragchew crew. Hoping Wave will play it nice. Clear as day, no static twice. Sharing tales of radio dreams, or how we prep for life's extremes. Weekends here, the wait is done. No more stress, no need to run. Gonna grab my mic tonight, finally time to speak it right. No more talk of work or pay. Just good times and laughs again. Chilling hard and speaking true. Hanging out with my Ragchew crew. Gonna grab my mic tonight, finally time to speak it right. No more talk of work or pay. Just good.
Man, I wish
I'm unmuting everybody for you.
I wish it would unmute. Oh,
Third
you got
verse
muted.
there, but hey,
Holy
everybody.
So somebody asked, what channel should I watch this on? Watch on all the channels.
I got
I got two
It's-
on mine right now.
I got these headphones that say super bass, and all it sounds like that it's in my ears is like cymbals and driving me crazy. Anyway, welcome everybody to Sunday Night Ragchew. Got a couple guests tonight here. We've got a smoking ape.
So that intro, I mean, it sounded like Fallout Boy or something like that. What was that all about?
It was total Fallout Boy, wasn't it?
The intro was AI Fallout Boy. I don't know. That's
It
what
sounded
AI,
like some
It's probably-
Fallout Boy.
that's what AI came up with. So that's the rock version of
I didn't know that kind of music was popular in Canada, but you know, what do I know?
it is. It's kind of creeping its way up along with the bot flies that are destroying the cat. So I want to thank and welcome Ape tonight. First time joining us and not making ridiculous comments.
Oh, I'll make ridiculous comments, but let me get this out of the way. Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited. So
Yeah, this is going to be
Oh,
cool.
Wait till we get started.
Yeah, I've watched a lot, like many of you probably watched a lot of Ape's videos because he's got some just great information. And I watched some of his tuning. He's made a couple recent. Was it SWR or was it tuning? There was a couple of recent videos you made.
I think the last one I did was SWR.
Yeah. So if you want to learn about stuff, Ape's channel is a great one to learn from. And he's got great PowerPoints, and you're going to get to witness one of those tonight.
The one tonight's not that great, so I just put a couple of things together, and it's probably an early version of what's going to be more of a full-blown video.
So what he's saying is he didn't really do a lot of preparation for the Ragchew crew in this channel, but that's
I
okay.
figured my presence would be more than enough.
We'll still enjoy a little barbecue when he comes to Texas sometime.
Yeah, let's just
also-
man. Sorry, I missed you.
I know. I was off. I thought next week meant the next week, and anyway.
Well, so bro, listen to this, man. I went to the ham radio outlet down there.
Yeah.
And I go in and I'm cool, right? So I say, hey, man, I got a video camera and I do YouTube stuff, and I was going to tape some stuff if that's cool.
Mhm.
And they're like, yeah, okay. So I actually had a problem with my camera, and a lot of it didn't record right. So I recorded it all, and then I go to buy some stuff, right? And because I don't want to be one of these guys that goes in and doesn't spend money, and so I go to buy some stuff, and the guy's like, "What's your call sign?" I was like, "I don't have one."
Sorry.
And he's like, "That might be a problem." And I was like, really? You wouldn't take money? And then the guy's like, no. So then he's like, what's your name? And I was like, I don't have I don't have one of them either. And I was like, look, man, I just don't want to give you any of my information and be hounded by you. And I said, I'm paying cash. Can't I just buy this shit? And the guy was like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Wow.
Okay, bro.
Really?
Thank you. So I left.
I don't think I've gotten anything from HRO, like spam emails or sale emails or
I
anything.
don't get anything.
I don't
have
get
that
that
once
person
in a
asked
while.
me for
from
my
that
call
dang old
sign, and I
computer.
said,
Oh,
I use
mate.
my call sign on the radio, so I'll see
Yeah.
you.
You would think that it was, what I should have said is like, look, bro, why don't I just give you some cash and then you pay for it on your name?
No,
You could just give them mine.
didn't
I mean,
need
I
it.
wasn't mad at the guy. I mean, I get the rules of the
Yeah.
rules, but I'm like, this is kind of BS though, bro. It's like
What
Radio
is it
Shack.
we're buying? I forget.
But is it really rules? I mean, is it something that? I mean, it's
Well,
not,
like, what if I planked down
what if you're buying something for
DX10,
me?
right? And so $800 radio, pay for cash, and they're not going to take my money because I won't give them my personal information. Seems like kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
But I wasn't buying a DX10. I was just buying. One of the things I wanted to get is he had the power poles of all the colors, like the
Oh, yeah.
rainbow color, so I can celebrate, things with my power pole connectors. And
In June, you can make a new power pull box.
yeah, man. And so like I want color coded power poles for certain things. Like I want green for my solar panel and that kind of stuff. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's where I got
Oh,
my.
I thought yellow was the universal power pole for solar.
Well, I
That's-
look at solar as green energy.
Well, Ape loves the
Oh.
planet, so he looks more at being green. But yeah, that's where I got all my color poles as well. It's there's a baggie of them. Then you get some larger size one too. Is it what are the large gray ones? I always forget.
The
Yeah.
40, the 50 amps or maybe
40 or
50.
50. Yeah. So
Maybe you just wanted my contact info.
Don't
so you
worry,
could call me.
XT60 boys.
You might
I'm
want
on
it
your
to.
side here.
Nice.
Screw those power pole kids. They ain't got
Mhm.
nothing on us.
So we want to welcome Ziggy as well, and he's got my favorite microphone tonight. I love that little thing. I remember the first time you had it on the stream, dude. I was like, "What in the hell is that?"
Yeah.
It is so funny looking. Either that or
Great.
Ziggy's just extremely large.
Actually, it's on top of a camera that Ape gave me. It is actually the eye in the sky.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but you guys don't see that.
So it's wrapped on
All
a
you
network cable
see
or USB cable.
is that. That's perfect.
funny. That's
It's a
hilarious.
cute little microphone.
It
Well, you
actually
guys-
sounds better than the one I'm talking on, believe it or not.
I think you were using it that time when I watched your stream a while back.
Yeah, you guys said it sounded better than my high dollar
Sounded-
microphone.
It sounded great. So last week, if we remember, we were doing some antenna modeling, and we had some good fun with that.
We did
So
great.
there's been a lot of question too about SWR, and I got to make the antenna resonant and blah 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 blah. So I want to talk about tuners. Now, initially I bought a manual tuner, and it's the one I have here. I pulled it out of the attic, and not really understanding everything behind the science and the resonance and the current and all that kind of stuff. I thought, well, why am I buying why am I buying manual? And so I just get my automatic and let it do it for me.
And I'm the
And-
only one in the group here that doesn't have a manual tuner. I'm
Shame
all
on you.
auto.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
I like manual shift cars, so why don't I have a manual tuner? So
Michael, if you
so
can't get
here-
one, I'll mail you
so
one.
today is the day that you sell me on a manual tuner.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, so when I started messing around with HF, I got an auto tuner, and I did not want a manual tuner. I think part of it is intimidation factor, right? Because you're like, man, it's got knobs and shit. I'm going to have to be tuning this stuff and twisting knobs, and I don't know I didn't know what I was doing, right? I mean, I had a little bit of understanding of impedance, but over time, you start to learn things, and then I was like, I kind of like the idea of trying a manual tuner, and that's what I have now. I got one sitting right here. Actually, I have two of them sitting here, and I love them. I feel it gives me more control. I feel like I get a better match, and I can tune impedances that are further out.
Says
and you
the
get a
man
lot of
that has
people who-
one auto tuner. Sorry.
Yeah, you get a lot of people who are like, well, I use resonant antennas, but then they go on and talk about how great the G90 is because of the tuner, right? So it's like, come on, man, what story are you actually going to tell here, son?
I wanted to bring a full. So I don't know why it's so grainy. Maybe because it's light.
I got
my
Paul
basic
to pull
manual
this
tuner.
bad boy out of the attic,
Yeah.
and it was
Yep.
covered in dust. The picture he sent to me, it was great.
You can still see the dust around behind the knobs. See all that dust? Yeah, it was up
Yeah.
in the attic. So
Don says there were
What you
no
going in
auto
that
tuners
attic? You
when
get
he
all that
started.
dust. That's a Texas dust, boy.
and it's hot to the touch. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff in the attic that, as a new ham, just kind of, oh, this looks fun. I'll get this. Then I never use it. This didn't work. I couldn't figure that out, this out. I got a couple of tubs worth of stuff, and I keep trying to go up there and find something new to build or make. But
Well, play with the manual tuner and you'll have a good time with it. And then you realize that it's not that scary. And if you're using low power at first, don't worry about it. Your radio's got fold back. You're not going to damage anything. And you're just going to have a good old time. And then you're going to realize that you have more control. You've learned something. And it's going to just become second nature to you.
yeah, so I pulled it out and I remembered kind of the gist of it, where you listened for the noisiest thing on the first dial and then you tune it. So I kind of still remembered a little bit of it. And I tuned it was like a 9 something to 1. And I was like, I got it down lower, then I tuned it down. It was down 1.2. I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. I'm liking this again. So that's when I was thinking, or it was before that, but thinking, let's get Ape on here, the Master Tuna, and we're going to tune a fish with a smoking ape. But
Yeah. So what we'll do is a little bit of,
quick, though. I just want to, because we're talking about manual tuners, but I received some information like back when you first started ham radio, you were recorded as you liked automatic tuners, if I'm not mistaken. Is that fair to say? Like in the beginning, when you were really young, starting as a ham radio operator? I mean, I've got some video evidence if you want me to play it.
No, I'm not going to deny it. I mean, I'm sure what I said is that I'm lazy and I'm greedy, and I went the path of least resistance, and I get multiple bands on my 9-to-1, and I have an auto tuner, and it just switches stuff for me. Right? That's probably exactly what I said.
Can I go? They sent the video clip to me. Let me go ahead and play it.
It's going to be AI. I know it. I was always a disciple of use an automatic antenna tuner because it's fast. It's easy, right? You don't have to do anything. You just change frequencies, key up, and it's done. That seems legit.
Yeah, so that's real. That was legit. From about 40 or something years ago. So would you say you've changed your stance since that moment?
Yeah, I would. And I think everybody evolves as a ham over time, right?
Yeah.
You learn, you grow, more things become apparent to you, and your sphere of understanding increases over time. And I don't have a problem with with an auto tuner. As a matter of fact, I have an auto tuner set up. If I travel pretty often for work and I go on vacation a lot too. And I will take my radio and I'll take an auto tuner just because it's super easy. And if I'm trying to FT8, like for example, on a bunch of different frequencies, I can operate a lot faster if I'm crunched for time.
Mm-hmm.
All that said, I prefer a manual tuner and believe that that's the right way to go.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it. I've had it out for about a week, and I was off all week, so I was playing with it off and on. I had a wire up, so I was able to tune in some bands that the wire wasn't meant to tune on. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and educate us, Ape. Let's get going.
Well, I think you probably saw last week, I'm sure Ziggy was talking about what you're more concerned about with your antenna is the current on the wire, because the current is what causes your RF to propagate, right? It creates your near field, then your far field, and that's your signal that goes out and hits the ionosphere and refracts back down and helps you make contacts. So that's really what you need to concern yourself with when you're operating. I wouldn't concern myself so much with SWR. And so like a lot of times what we'll see is people are doing antenna videos and they get their SWR meter out. They're like, well, I got a damn match. See my match? It's a good antenna, real good. And I don't want to sound cliche, but a lot of people always say, well, hey, a dummy load is a perfect match, but it doesn't radiate well. So I'm more concerned about how well my antenna radiates. And then I'm concerned about my antenna being resonant. And that doesn't mean 50 ohms, right? That means that I have 0 reactance. And then I'm worried about getting matched to 50 ohms. But a lot of times I think that SWR is probably a rabbit hole that a lot of folks go down, that they don't necessarily need to go down. And then also with things like a antenna tuner, you can put a massive long wire out in the backyard. And then with your manual tuner,
more.
Yeah, with your manual tuner, tune it, and you're getting tons of current out on that,
Mm-hmm.
and making good contacts. And the other thing I always tell people is that a lot of the old timers, the OMs, and you know, it's fun to bash OMs for being grouchy and crabby and all that kind of stuff, but there's a lot of experience there that we should glean information from. Is they use
It'll go
doublet
nowhere.
antennas, and the doublet antennas, you know, generally aren't resonant on very much,
Mhm.
right? So they use a manual tuner to get a match to make the radio happy. And what you want really is you want full power transfer from your radio to your transmission line or to your load, depending upon where you put your tuner or matching device. And that's what we want. So if I'm pushing the key and I want 100 watts, I want 100 watts hitting that wire, and that's my primary thing right there.
Yeah.
I got a
I
little
can
bit.
say, I can just
it-
what you're saying there. I can say all my entire, I don't know, 12 or 13 years as a ham. That has been my focus. Oh, I got to get that SWR. I got to get that SWR to one. You know, that's the only way to do this. You know, not really understanding the theory behind it. Besides, in spite of being an extra. So yeah, I'm the same as many, if not most hams, where it's got to be resonant or it's not going to work right, or it's, you know.
Well,
then,
that's what people repeat what they heard, right? So you hear somebody that you trust because they sound smart, right? Or because they're exuberant and have energy, and they say that, and then it becomes that, hey, well, I'm really only worried about that. So, like, if I was really concerned about my antenna and how well it was performing, I would take a field strength meter, right? And I would measure the far field plot, understand my takeoff angles, and I would understand where I have nulls and where I have peaks. And I would surmise my antenna's practicality that way. I wouldn't hook an SWR meter and test it. The only thing SWR tells you is power transfer from one medium to another, typically from your radio or your tuner to your transmission line.
mm-hmm. So when you're saying the peaks, so like when we did the antenna modeling last week, would those peaks he's talking about, Ziggy, be those when we were looking at the lines,
The big lobes.
the lobes when we're looking at the lines, or is it looking at the 3D radiation pattern?
I'm talking about the 3D radiation pattern.
Oh, okay.
So the probably
Well,
the
they're one
lines
and
that
the
you were,
same, technically.
yeah, well, the lines that you were looking at were probably the current, right?
The currents, right?
Oh, okay.
And so that current is impacted by all kinds of things. I always say your rusty Buick sitting out in the yard, anything with reactance in the near field, your ground, how many radials you have down. So even though you might have a whole bunch of current coming off your antenna, it still might not propagate well because it's all being absorbed by the ground, right? So that's why I always talk about counterpoises and ground planes and things along those lines, because that helps you get that current from being absorbed into the ground, or that radiation from being absorbed in the ground out into the air.
Okay. And Michael, just keep watching I can watch a little bit too, because Ape's going to be doing most of the talking, but watch for questions and stuff.
Well, I'm not answering any questions.
Yeah. We just like to put them up on the screen, and then we get rid of them really quick and move on.
I'm asking the questions around here.
So yeah,
Well, I
so
mean,
this is really cool, and Ziggy got me kind of started in stuff because he has this big loop up and all this. It's not like he put a loop up that's, I'm going to make this loop resonant on 160 meters, and so he's got me. He kind of started my interest
I
in
wasted too much.
Yeah, go ahead, Ziggy.
Go ahead. Oh
No, go ahead, because
I wasted too much of my life worrying about SWR. And then when I finally started playing with a manual tuner, I realized that a manual tuner was the piece of equipment in ham shacks from the very beginning of ham radio. It was your transmitter and then your matchbox and then whatever you just happened to have.
Yeah.
Old hams didn't chase SWR. They were just trying to make it all function at all. RF's gonna RF, right? You just have to give it enough wire out there to get out.
Just a bit of
Transmatch, that's
housekeeping.
correct.
Just a bit of housekeeping because I'm monitoring the questions. We're using StreamYard for the first time in how many months, Paul? So
since May.
not all the chats are going to all channels. Now, if you make a chat, say on my channel, it will show up on the main chat that we're watching, but it's not going to show up on the Prep and Paul, and vice versa. So just be aware of that. But we are getting your questions as they
Hopefully
come.
you're watching. Yeah, just watch all of those if you can.
Yeah, watch both channels.
So basically, what last week and this week my focus is for us to kind of rethink, which is what Ziggy's kind of taught me, is kind of rethink the way we approach antennas, where you create the antenna with modeling software that you want to create to get the effect you want, and then you use the tuner to tune it. So That's my thought of this entire time. It's a question.
Well,
Hollywood
it's
had
just
the
the next
best
step
example.
in Hammond, right? You're learning something new, and then you're going to incorporate that into your operating philosophy.
Hollywood had the best example where you go straight from your radio to transmission line and then the antenna. That's like top fuel drag, right? That's direct coupling in
really?
between the engine and the tires that meet the road. So young hams were taught to chase SWR, and that's kind of like immediately slamming the ham into top fuel drag. What happened about that torque converter in between? Like maybe we need something to take up a little bit of the weirdness in between, or make it work on bands that it's not supposed to.
Well, the part of the reason though is
3 to
that
1 internal is not
SWR is
going to do
easy
that.
to measure, right? You buy a $50 meter, you hook it up, and then you can see something, right? And then somebody can tell you, well, 3 to 1, boy, 3 to 1 is not what you want. You want 1 to 1, son, or as close to it as you can get.
Right.
And so it becomes something that, hey, I just learned some shit, right? And then you incorporate that, and it becomes that that thing that you're chasing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's far from the end all be all for true performance of your antenna, and you can deal with it.
So, quick question. So, would it be better to have a counterpoise or not for an infed halfway?
So Jeff doesn't watch my channel.
So there's 2 halves of any antenna, right? And you can't just have a radiating element. You have to have the other half of the antenna. And for any infed, there has to be some other half of the antenna. And for infeds, it just happens to be really short. Or it's going to be the third conductor on your feeder, which is the outside of your coax.
You need
And
a
that's
counterpoise at the end of the day.
You
You need something
counterpoise
to
at the end of
balance
the day.
the current. And a lot of people are like, I just use my coax for that. And the problem that you get is that the shield on your coax is a direct path to ground, right? And so ground is a resistive load. And in a counterpoise, it's not grounded, even though we call it ground. And it acts as a capacitor where it stores energy and then it releases energy with the alternating current, right? With the differential mode current that we're using. So it charges your counterpoise and then it releases the energy from your counterpoise. And those two things function differently. You 100% should be using a counterpoise. And I'm shocked. So when somebody's selling an antenna and they tell you no counterpoise needed on this baby, they're full of shit. They're either being deceptive or they're ignorant. Like Ziggy said, there's 2 halves to every antenna. If you cut one off, you got a problem. That current's going to go somewhere, and it's going to be, and it could come back to the shack and actually shock you. So Don's talking about an elevated counterpoise. You can have elevated counterpoises. It essentially becomes an element at that point in time. If you have it closer to the ground, it's capacitively coupled to the ground. I would actually recommend you have more than one counterpoise.
Multiple length radials and multiple length counterpoise is the ticket, guys, because RF's going to choose the path of least resistance, or more specifically, the lowest impedance path, and it will then steer you in the right direction from there. So that's a big part of the one antenna that Ape and I were talking about that I designed called the Zigzag, where it's actually not, it's an infed, but it actually has 2 radiating elements that parallel each other. And if you model it on different bands, you'll watch the RF choose and radiate on both, but it's going to radiate more on one than the other because RF is lazy, guys. You need to remember RF's going to pick the simple path, right?
I remember
That's how everything works, right? The path of least resistance. Bricker House is saying that he always uses one, but there are people who swear by not using them, they get contacts. I'd love to hear their technical reason for not using them. And I got contacts is not a technical reason, right? That's anecdotal evidence that something happened. And I'm sure you can see on YouTube, it's very vogue for people to tune up shopping carts and street signs and fence posts and tractors even. And they make contacts. But the thing is that doesn't make it a good antenna. It means that you made contacts. I wonder just how many more contacts they would have made had they choose to use a counterpoise. I mean, it's just science, folks. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Don's asking where the poise is on his delta loop. Different antenna, Don. We're talking about infeds. A delta loop is a full wave, typically, and
but
It's
it has
also
one.
electrically a dead short.
Right, it has one, right? So you have 2 inputs to your delta loop.
Right. You
So
have
there's
2 halves, right, that
right,
meet to a
that
halfway.
are connecting, and when you get towards where they connect, you have a super high impedance, so the current stops going. Does laziness count as an option? Yeah, but that's it, right? I mean, if somebody's not using one, it's one, either somebody compelling told them not to and they didn't need it, or they're just being lazy.
You
I
know,
mean, it's really
I used your Aries, the Aries you guys sold, and I have
the
that one.
91, right?
I think it's got a 25-foot, maybe 17-foot counterpoise. I can't remember.
It's probably 17 is what we
Yeah,
typically
17.
start with.
And I have the Reliance Mini Bug Out Mini, and that doesn't have a counterpoise. And I need to try to compare those, because what I do is I hang it out the window, right? So I thought, well, the Bug Out Mini is going to work better because I'm just going to have the counterpoise just rolled up in the room here. I don't have anywhere for it to go. But I think I should do a comparison of that just to see if it's better to have the counterpoise anyway and kind of just string it out in the room, or non-counterpoise, outside of a wall of a hotel.
Yeah, somebody was saying that Artemis has a 17 as James. And so with all of our kits, we would sell them with a 17-foot counterpoise.
Okay.
And I think what we say in all of them is you may have to tune that counterpoise. The
Mhm.
reason we pick 17 is because it's a quarter wave on 20 meters, right? And it's just easy math.
The mundane.
Technically, your counterpoise on an NFET is supposed to be 5% of the length of the lowest wave that you intend to operate on.
Interesting fact about the counterpoise for an infed is that it is technically a random wire, because we are trying to provide the lowest impedance path for the other half of the antenna. So it's real strange, right? The infed half wave is like, we're chasing like a harmonically perfect kind of thing, but the counterpoise is a non-fractional harmonic half of the antenna. So there's actually a random wire component to your perfect infed half wave, whether it be 80 or 40 meters.
Yeah, and if you remember when we were modeling that, I think it was an inverted V or something, we added the counterpoise, and you get a little bit difference in that modeling. If you remember when we added the counterpoise, I think it was the second antenna we did to an infed or something, I forget. But anyway,
So I don't know how
Are
to say
you,
these
are you
guys'
familiar with
names.
a JYR 8010?
I don't know.
So yeah, and it's a piece of. So I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to be honest about it. It's a piece of shit antenna. I did a
What's
video
that?
on the JYR 4010,
Oh, so
yeah,
and
you
it does have a counterpoise lug on it. So
Mm.
actually, I don't have it right here. Otherwise, I'd show you. But on the back of it, there's a screw that you can attach your counterpoise.
Okay.
So what people do, again, they allow the coaxial shield to become their counterpoise, which actually makes your coaxial cable part of your antenna system, and it will radiate and receive signals. And that's a little bit of a problem. And somebody on here was saying, Zavani, I don't know how you say that, Xanavi,
No, this
was saying something along the lines of, so don't you turn my NFED half wave into an off-center fed dipole?
That's
Yep,
what
you sure
exactly
shit
what it is.
do. And people get upset at me when I say that. They're like, no, it's not an off center fed dipole. The off center fed dipole is fed at 1/3 or 40%, and and it's 100% an off center fed dipole, because the gospel that Ziggy was preaching earlier is all antennas have 2 sides, right? You have your hot and you have your ground. Your NFED half wave with a cutoff, like the original NFED half wave, the ZEP, it had a counterpoise on it, right? So the thing is that you have your 2 halves, regardless of what you want to call that antenna. There's three antennas. You have vertical, you have a dipole, or you have a loop. That's it. All antennas are variations of that. And the NFED half wave dipole is actually what it's called, and then off center fed is a dipole as well.
I call the infed half wave an extremely off center fed dipole.
Yep.
Like to the extreme. Ape, do you have some slides?
I do have some slides if we want to get to them, but I did have a little bit of a chart because I wanted to, or that GIF, if you want to pull it up there,
Yeah.
Paulie.
Okay.
45 is going to give
We're
us a
gonna
good
get to your
segue
questions
in
here in
here.
a bit.
He's talking about tuning a counterpoise. So let's get into the tuning and then we can address tuning as far as if you're
I'll
talking
give you
about
my
cutting
2
the
cents there,
tuner, what?
45. If you're worried about tuning your counterpoise, then you need multiple multi-length counterpoises. And then you can actually, this is simple, right? Process of elimination. You can basically select the best one that meets your match, or just keep them all connected, because RF's going to choose for you.
Yeah, I like those Mueller clips. Bob HOA Ham, shout out to him. He's a really great guy. He showed me those, and they allow you just to clip on counterpoises, so you can have a couple of different sizes of it. But so for a random wire, I don't tune my antenna and I don't tune my counterpoise. If it doesn't work, then I'll go into diagnostic mode and see what I can do. But generally speaking, I cut it to the recommended lengths while accounting for an approximation of velocity factor. Throw my counterpoise on there and have at it, let my tuner sort it out. Right? That never had a problem. With an end-fed half wave, I will tune via the counterpoise, but typically, like I mentioned, if I'm having problems with a 17-foot counterpoise, then I'll cut it to 5% of the lowest wavelength that I'm going to operate on, and then make adjustments to my element after that. It's like a big old alligator clip, like an industrial alligator clip.
Yeah, you sent me one. I love it. I still have it.
So we take a look at this slide. The reason I wanted to put it on here is because a lot of people have confusion about what SWR really is, and I felt that this animation really depicts it. So a lot of times people will come back and say, hey man, my swears, I don't want my swears coming back into my radio and causing me problems, like burning up my finals or cooking my innards or any of that kind of stuff. I don't want the swears coming back. And then you get somebody who comes along and says, hey, standing wave means it's stationary. A standing wave doesn't move, so a standing wave isn't coming back. And so it creates a bunch of confusion. And so you actually have 3 waves on your transmission line when you're transmitting. So what we have here is 3 waves, and the first one is the blue wave, and technically that's called the incident wave, but that is your transmitting wave, right? That's the one that's going from the radio to your antenna. Sometimes people try to sound smart and they call it to your load, source to load. And in this case, it's moving from left to right. Hopefully it's moving left to right on your screen. It's moving left to right on my screen, but that's my incident wave. Now let's assume that I have a mismatch at my antenna feed point that I'm going to correct with my tuner. Even if I correct it with my tuner, I still have a reflected wave that's represented in red. That wave moves from right to left. It's coming back towards my radio. The white line on there is our standing wave, and it's actually not moving. It kind of looks like it's moving, and that's what I call an optical conclusion. I don't like illusion. It's an optical conclusion, so I'm concluding that it looks like it's moving, but it's not. It changes in amplitude. That means it goes up and down based off of the sum of the 2 traveling waves. Incident wave, reflected wave, or traveling waves going in opposite direction. Standing wave stands still, but it goes up and down based off of where the traveling waves are. So you have some people call it a node and antinode. Node would be the high point, antinode would be the bottom. Some people call it a minima and a maxima. Maxima is the high point, minima is the low point. But that's your standing wave. So remember, there's 3 waves on your line, not 2.
So even though it's optically illusion, the white one is standing still.
Optical conclusion.
Conclusion. Is that like
the white one's standing still? If you look closely, you'll see that it's just an addition and subtraction based off of where the other 2 waves are.
Okay.
That's a lot of talking, man, and it's hot in here.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I think I need
You're on the 3rd floor now, ain't you?
Yeah, I'm going to have some more of my sippy cup over here.
Okay.
All right. If you want to pull up the slides, we can talk a little bit through those. But I want to make sure we have plenty of time to get to our practical demonstration.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about how antenna tuners really work. And so the first thing I put on there is common misconception. Many hams mistakenly believe the tuner tunes the antenna directly rather than the system impedance seen by the transmitter. Now, I know that there's going to be some pointy head people in here who have heard other pointy head people talk about Reflections 1, 2, and 3 by Walter Maxwell. In Reflections 3, he evolved his thinking to the antenna tuner actually does tune the antenna system. So when he talks about the antenna system, he talks about tuning the coax, any transmatch, balun or unknown that you have, and your antenna in and of itself. I don't believe that. So to me, tuning your antenna is physical manipulation of your antenna. I trim, I add, I change the way it's mounted. I raise it, I lower it. That's tuning your antenna. And the justification I use for that line of thinking is that when I tune a guitar or a piano or any other stringed instrument and I want it to resonate at a particular frequency, I either shorten or lengthen the length of that cable or that wire. And so I don't believe that the antenna tuner tunes my antenna. What it does is it creates a match condition between my transmitter and my transmission line, or if it's mounted at my antenna, between my transmission line and my load or antenna. So what you want your tuner to do is manipulate the impedance and create a 50 ohm resistive load at the transmitter. So when we talk about a resistive load, that means it's absent of reactance. So we have two different types of reactance. We have inductive and we have capacitive reactance. And I think we get into the differences and why that's important, but you really don't need to know that. What you need to know is what your tuner is doing is saying, hey, all the power is going into a resistive load, and the tuner is now forcing that, minus some loss to ohmic heat, I'm not going to say that that doesn't happen, into my transmission line. On the output of your tuner, what it creates is called a conjugate match, which is a mirror reflection of the input impedance on your antenna. And it starts to sound really technical, really complex, but just it's a mirror image of what's going into your antenna. When you have a conjugate match, that reflective wave, the red line that we were looking at before, comes back and it hits that, which is a new impedance mismatch, and it does a U-turn and goes right back the other direction. And that's a good thing, because that means that power then makes it back to your antenna and then gets radiated out into the air, to the atmosphere and up to the ionosphere. It's not a signal booster. So a lot of people say, hey, well, when I use my antenna tuner, I hear things better. You hear things better because you don't have an SWR mismatch. There is a potential for hidden losses. Mismatches between the tuner and the antenna can lead to the standing waves and loss of energy in the feed line. And so when we talk about this, the standing wave in and of itself, that voltage that goes up and down, can exceed the voltage limitation of your transmission line. If that happens, you can have dielectric breakdown, and you can get an arc or a short between your conductor and your shield. And that's a bad thing that it can happen there. Also, if you do have a super high SWR on your antenna, if you're tuning something crazy that's way, way, way out, that back and forth, that ping pong that I talked about, can create heat inside your transmission line, which causes it to perform poorly, which creates, what do they call that? An escalated and exponential heat map on that, and it can cause loss that way as well.
Burnings.
That's all I got for this slide.
Oh, that's the only one I have. Is that it?
Oh, maybe it's me that has to.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, just go ahead and it should.
There
Yeah.
we go. Hold on a second. So we talked a little bit about what the antenna tuner does. It adjusts your impedance. I'm not going to go over that. And we talked a little bit about that resistive load. So what it's doing is it's reactive. It's canceling your reactance. I talked about inductive or capacitive reactance, which are things that exist in AC current. It doesn't exist in DC current. So what we want to do is we want to cancel that. Now, a lot of people will say, well, how does an antenna tuner that is made up of reactive elements, right? So you have inductors, you have capacitors. Those are reactive. They're not resistive. A resistor is a resistive element. They'll say, well, how in the world does a reactive element make something resistive? And what it does is it rotates your phase angle. So in an inductive condition, your voltage leads current leads voltage, and the reverse is true for a capacitor. And then when your voltage and your current are out of sync, you create reactance, which creates an impedance mismatch. So what we do is we mess with inductors and we mess with capacitors, and we tune basically the phase angle, the signal that we're transmitting, and it gets rid of that. Now you can really see this rotation on the Smith chart. So as part of the demonstration, I asked Prep Ham Paulie here to set up an NOVNA to his manual tuner to his antenna. And we're actually going to see that live. And then what we end up with is a transmitter seeing 50 ohms. So despite the antenna transmatch, the power transfer is taking place, which is what we want. Inside antenna tuners, you have guts, and there's a couple of different things that you typically would see. You would see an L network, a pi network, or a T network. each one of these has different strengths, pros and cons. When you look inside a manual antenna, an automatic antenna tuner, what you see is an L network. And the reason you see L networks is because the automatic tuner can change the topology of the L network. So it's basically a capacitor so let's say you have an L network that is an inductor in series and a capacitor shunt to ground. It forms a right angle. It looks like an L. It's called an L network. If you switch that to the capacitors in series and the inductors, the shunt to ground, it changes the way that your L network functions, right? It can go from a high pass to a low pass filter, for example. A pi network is when you have two reactive components shunted to ground and something in series. Typically what you have shunted to ground are capacitors and an inductor in series. The T network is two reactive elements in series, one on either side, and then one going to the ground. And it looks like a T. And it's typically an inductor shunted to ground with two capacitors in series. I know I said a lot, and that sounds pretty technical. Does that make sense to everybody?
Oh, 100%. It's perfectly clear. I get it all now.
I can show.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot. You know, some people will, some people won't. You know, I'm very basic in my electrical skills and knowledge. So some things kind of like, okay, still don't quite get, but I get the gist. So I don't know
if you want to put me on the bigger.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think I have to get rid of that and then do this.
Okay, I wanted to make sure everything made sense to people, so I broke it down very simply. I got my 24 pack of Crayola crayons, and what we'll do is we'll just take a quick look at a couple of different things. So let's just say we have our transmission line, right? So we have, this would be our hot, this would be our ground. This is the symbol for source. So this is the source of power going into our transmission line, and then over here we have our load, which would be our antenna, right? So that should make sense to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, L networks look like this, right? So that's the sign for an inductor, and then this would be the sign for a capacitor. So it forms an L. This is in series. This is shunted to ground. Now, conversely, I could remove this, and I could put a capacitor here, and I could remove this, and I could put an inductor there. Or I could put this one in series down here, and I can change all those configurations, and that gives me a lot of ability. You can't really do that easily with a manual tuner, but you see this in the automatic tuners, and this is why people say things like, damn, that tuner on that 10-to-1 on my G90 can tune anything. It'll tune a wet noodle. It would, you know, and all that stuff. And it's because that you have this ability to manipulate those configurations and tune things differently. I talked a little bit about a T, right? And so the T, you have an inductor that's shunted to ground, right? And then up here you have your hot line, and then what you would typically have is a capacitor on either side like that. And then when you look at your pi network, let's get this over here so folks can see that. You typically would have a capacitor here. You would have a capacitor here. And then up here, you would have your inductor. And that actually looks like the Greek symbol for pi, right? Makes sense? So these are the topologies that we typically see in terms of impedance matching networks in antenna tuners. This is the most common you would see in a manual. This is what you would see in an automatic. This one you would see in specialized manual tuners, and they're typically significantly more expensive.
Hey, you got two purples there.
Well, look at that.
They ripped you off.
Well, this one says
Is it a different kind of purple? They look the same.
No,
sure
they're going to be
do.
different. I guarantee it.
Someone in the crayon factory.
Blue, violet.
Hey, what's the other one? I got to know this. This is bugging me. It's violet something. Violet purple.
See, told you they were. See, told you they were different.
All right.
That's how they get you.
If we were doing
It is how they get you.
I could have understood.
All right, so let me pull my up and let me go
You want
back to my webcam.
Do you want that PowerPoint back up or no?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
All right, so hopefully that made sense to everybody. I'm not trying to overcomplicate things. So we talked a little bit about this, so we're not going to go deep. Resonance means for an antenna is there's no reactance. And when people say, I only use resonant antennas, an antenna is only resonant on a particular frequency. We cheat a little bit and we get near resonance on harmonics, like the odd harmonics on an infed half wave, for example. Let's see. Understanding impedance, it's resistance plus JX, and that's your reactance. So impedance components is Z. That impedance is the symbol Z is for impedance, which is the sum of resistance. So that's up with that R plus X plus your reactance, which is J. Positive J is inductive, negative J is capacitive. So when your reactance equals 0, that's when you're resonant. It has nothing to do with being 50 ohms. It's the absence of reactance. I'm not going to talk about this because we're going to pull up the Smith chart anyway. Conjugate matching and phase rotation. I covered all that already, so I don't think we need to do that. Standing waves in the feed line problem. We covered that with our animated GIF. And here's just a little summary I put together: manual versus automatic tuners. Manual tuners hire a wider range of mismatch than automatic. Some automatics can do more, but you're going to pay a lot more for them. Automatic tuners are fast. That's why people love them, and they're easy. Manual tuners require no power. Automatic tuners require power. In an automatic tuner, you have these little relay switches in there, and there's two different kinds. There are latching and non-latching. So you want latching, which means it holds its last known configuration. Reliability: manual tuners are highly durable. Automatic tuners have electronics that can fail. When you go to somebody's old ham shack, the tuners that are around that are ancient are always manual tuners. Now, people would argue and say, well, it's because they didn't have automatic tuners. But the manual tuners last forever. Cost per watt, manual tuners are more cost effective, especially when you start talking about 1,000 watts, 1,500 watts. And I got to be honest with you, if I'm pumping 1,000 watts down my transmission line, I don't want an automatic antenna tuner, because if something fails,
yeah,
I've got a problem there.
What
right?
if the
So
software
like if
crashes in that automatic tuner, right?
right.
Because they're software driven.
So I have manual tuners reside in the shack. They don't always have to. Some people use a matchbox that they go out in the yard and they mess with. But typically, because you have to be hands-on with a manual tuner, you'll see them in the shack. Automatic tuners you'll see in both places. And I think that's the end of my slideshow. Yeah, we're good.
All right, ready for some questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So 45 was asking, how do you tune the counterpoise?
I think we covered that earlier.
I got after that one.
The standing wave is a sum of both of the other two, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then one more question. Are there any implications of the magnetic wave portion of the EM on transmission lines?
So you have the E and the M field. I think you also have an H and a B field that can be on there. Well, I typically would worry. So I think that what you're saying is that if you're not using a choke, and then you have the path of least resistance for your ground current coming down your transmission line, I think I understand that correctly. The negative implications is that energy's got to go somewhere. It can come back into your radio, potentially cause problems. Years ago, when I got my 705, I wasn't using a choke. And when I would transmit, I would get RFI back on my coaxial cable, and it's invisible. You can't see it, smell it, taste it. So I didn't know it was happening. And my computer would freeze. And so what I ended up doing is I put a choke on my USB cable to stop the RFI from going from my radio into my computer, and all of a sudden I could transmit without issue. Then I said, hey, well, I don't want that coming into my radio either, because my radio is mostly plastic. But in the event it had a metal chassis and I touched that, and maybe I was grounded because I was touching something else, I could become a conductor, right? And I could get a little bit of a shock there.
For anybody that's never had an RF burn,
it can hurt.
It's not fun. It's seriously like a burn. It's like somebody's got a torch on your finger.
Yeah,
I've experienced a 5-watt burn, and I've
experienced a 100-watt one.
Yeah, I've never had one, but I heard it sucks.
I did it.
Well,
when
I had an antenna, one of those rubber duck antennas, 18-inch, and the cap came off the top. So that was a great demonstrator to show how RF can burn. And
well, you have much higher voltage because your current's low at the end of that rubber duck antenna, so you could get zapped pretty good.
20 watts caught his attention since the broke ham.
Andrew.
And thank you, Don, for the $20 super
Yeah,
chat.
thanks again, Don. I appreciate it.
And thanks for the kind words.
He's appreciative that you're on the show tonight.
I am
James had a
dying to pop
question.
the
I think
lid
we
on this,
missed.
guys.
I think we missed a question from James, didn't we?
Did I miss one?
Let me see here.
I was at the same time trying to figure all this out.
It was just before he questioned. Oh, right here. Did we answer that one?
Electromagnetic.
Does a manual tuner require protection from electromagnetic pulse? I'm going to go with no. So I guess what he's asking if I
Yeah.
wanted to be all prep like, do I
What are
need
we
to put that in my
There's
Faraday
no,
cage?
there's no transistors. There's no.
Oh, I know what he's saying. Like a preparedness standpoint. Do we need to
Right.
do we need to safeguard our manual tuner? And I'm going to say no.
No, because I mean, tubes and things that are not, they don't have like IC chips and such. I don't think you have to worry about that.
And that's a great segue as to what is inside of a manual tuner.
Yeah, I think if it's just resistors, capacitors, and such, it's not the same as the
Well, those capacitors might be a little bit of a problem.
Capacitors might have an issue if they, yeah.
Yeah, but not all manual tuners have capacitors in there. I mean, you'll have your big manual, you'll have your capacitors that you can adjust, your adjustable capacitors, but you're not going to have something like an electrolytic. So if you had electrolytics and ceramic capacitors in there that potentially are holding on energy, I'm going to go with yes. But in this case, I'm going to go with no.
Yeah.
Oh, he does have an electrolytic in there.
Yeah, he's
right there. Yeah, on top right.
That's ceramic. Are you talking about this guy?
And what's the black with yellow stripe next to it?
That is part of the SWR circuit.
Okay. Yeah.
And that appears to be a resistor. There's a diode and another resistor. Yeah, because this is a Dentron Junior Matchbox, and it has a swinging RF needle.
So would we say that this has there is a risk, even slight risk of being damaged in an EMP? Not at all.
If you're worried about it, put it in the trash can and wrap it with aluminum foil, and then wrap it with your duct tape.
So we can consider this a pre-1988 vehicle. It's safe.
Right. Well, that might be a pre-1988 tuner. So what you're looking at there is a Pi network, like we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think the next step is to have Paul tune something in and show us the steps and tell us what's happening as he's tuning it in.
Yeah. So Zig, can you twist those capacitors? Because I want to talk a little bit about meshed, unmeshed, and partially meshed, right?
Yeah. Here, let me stand it up on its side so we can get the proper view. And let me adjust my camera, guys. Give me just 1 second.
Sorry, my scene work. I'm trying to get used to StreamYard again.
There you go. Nice.
Way up on it.
So that's partially meshed, and that's when you have the blades of that would be unmeshed.
Completely unmeshed is where we are, and then this would be completely meshed.
Yeah, and so the way a capacitor works is energy builds up in one plate and then jumps to the next plate. So depending upon how much mesh you have going on will tell you how much energy is going through that particular component, and then that is the amount of capacitive reactance that you're using.
And usually measured in picofarads.
Yup. And so when you do this, a lot of folks will say, "Hey, when you're about to tune from an unmeshed condition, right? Start at unmeshed." I usually do it from half meshed, but whatever you want to do is fine. Zig, I don't know if you have a recommendation there.
I mean, you know, I think the half mesh was a great starting point. Honestly, and what most of the manufacturers do by default is they go ahead and start their 0 at a half mesh for some of my tuners. So right now we are at a 0 mesh, and my dial dot from 0 to 10 is on 10 right now. So believe it or not, 0 on this Dentron is fully meshed, and 10 right here is completely unmeshed.
That's exactly how MFJs work as well.
Yeah.
So, I can never remember which one's which, so I just started 5.
I can't either, and I read on an MFJ manual one time. Go ahead and start at 5 and 5 on both of them, and work your way from there.
Yeah. So the first thing you do is you tune the inductance, right? And on this particular tuner, what he has is called I want to call it fixed inductance, but that's not right. It is stepped inductance. So he's got a switch on the front of that. This is not a roller inductor, which is continuous inductance change. So when you turn that induction right there, do not do that while you're keyed up, because you're going to create a problem. Unkey, change your inductance. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to tune your inductance till you hear maximum noise. That's what they say, or lowest SWR. Once that's done, then you fine tune in your other two capacitors.
Now I have to admit something, as if we're in ham church right now. I actually do tune hot. I usually do about 1 or 2 watts, and I will hot click my inductance while I'm keyed up. I do not recommend any of you to do this. This is just something that I do, and I found that it works great for me. My 7300 can take a little bit of a whoops-a-daisy at a few watts. As I do click around the dial here, it's not going to hurt it.
Now, if I remember right, and I could be just not remembering right, but I think it told me to go to AM and do it, or no? Is that wrong?
You need a so
Carrier.
sideband's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
You have to go to either FM or AM. That's going to be a full duty cycle.
Yeah. And so you could do low watts just like hold a CW key down or something would be easier than.
You
There's
sure
a
could do
transmit
that.
button.
Yeah.
There's a transmit button on my radio.
Or you could use the tune button on
Oh.
your WSJTX.
Yeah,
right?
or RIDI works as
Got
well.
it.
You're absolutely
Okay.
right, James.
Anything that sends a tone or sends a carrier. Yeah. Yeah, usually with anything if we don't know what the name of it is and Ziggy's doing it, I just put Zig or Ziggy in front of it, like a Zig conductor or Zigductor, and I usually can.
And Don's asking if you can hot tune with a roller inductor, and the answer there is yes, right? Because you're not creating an open condition.
Right.
Right. So the risk is that when you hot tune the stepped inductor, you run the risk of arcing, because the energy is coming in and is running right through that inductor, and it's got to go somewhere.
There's a few milliseconds of basically an open antenna. Yeah.
And I guess that's why that first step is to not hit the button and listen for the highest noise floor, right? And then you're not in a high dangerous SWR. Is that kind of the point behind that?
Well, the tune in the inductor first, you should get your SWR lower, more manageable,
Yeah.
and then you bring it in. We'll see this when we switch to your screen when you're showing us your nano VNA connected into your tuner.
All right. We good here, guys?
We're
Yeah,
good.
that's awesome.
All
Yeah,
right.
after he showed me this, it made me excited for the next Hamfest, because I usually don't buy anything. I'm like, I don't want anything. Now I'm going to
This
be
is
like,
the only thing I
Well-
look for at Hamfest, guys. This is the only thing I look for is for manual tuners, because this is a lost art, in my opinion.
It is.
So, for me, can somebody tune up a frequency right now and show me how do I do it? I don't understand all the ins and outs of it, but I kind of want to get a baseline 50,000 foot level. How do you use a manual tuner, and how do you know how to?
Ape's going to
use it?
show us a 100-foot level, because I'm going to use the nano VNA, and he's going to walk me through it.
Yeah, let's get it up, Paulie.
So you want the software up, or do you want an image of the nano VNA?
I'm fine with can you do, well, it's the problem with the software being up. Like, we can't see what you're doing on the actual tuner, right?
You want me to set it up to do both?
Well, if you can, that would be awesome. But if you can just pull the software up,
You said that like, just wait a second.
he's like, he's like, hold my Labatt's.
I got this, guys. Hollywood gives me his blessings, everybody in the chat. 1 to 2 watts is okay. No problem.
That's good. Yeah. Listen to Hollywood. He knows.
Yeah, and Jeff's saying that some of the MFJ roller inductors are contacts on a wound coil. You're 100% right, bro. High wattage tuning is probably not a good idea, no matter what kind of tuner you have in front of you. Even the auto tuners don't do that. Always tune at a low level. What I'm saying is that if you have a stepped inductor in your manual tuner, don't be like Ziggy. Yeah, I love Ziggy, but I would say that what he's doing is a high risk thing that as a good citizen I can't advocate. Now, have I had a few Miller Lights and done it? Sure, but it's not something we want to do all the time.
I don't have
sir.
this,
I was going 2 miles an hour, not 100.
So here's what we want to do, Paul. Let's go into display setup in the lower left-hand corner.
All right. Let me hold on. Let me make sure my
Lord have mercy.
I did tell him not to do it.
No, I just want to make sure my other camera's going here.
James Roberts is asking if we're monitoring the chat. I'm doing my best, bro. But technically, this isn't my screen. I'm company.
It's Michael's. Yeah, it's Michael's job, so we can.
Well, I'm trying to learn at the same time here. So we are monitoring the chat.
And if you check out my tuner playlist, I'm not trying to plug my channel or anything like that. If you don't want to watch,
Oh,
don't.
you have a channel?
Yeah. But James, I have a huge list of all this tuner stuff. Playlist that it will cover all of it.
Yeah, if you go, yeah, he's got. Anytime I put a search in for like how to do something, Ape's going to be one of the top videos that comes in. All right, here we go. Let's see if that works.
I didn't, Don.
Oh, well, I don't
Don's
know.
saying some of his tuners require at least 25 watts to get in tune. In those cases, you're probably using a specialized tuner. And again, I'm just going to go with the default lawyer answer. Always consult your manual for the appropriate way to tune your tuner.
Okay. If the project cam pops on, it'll pop on. If not, okay.
Okay, so click display setup.
Okay.
And then I think you can scroll down to display charts. And then where you have S21 gain, turn that off.
This is off. Okay.
And then you have one called S21 gain, turn that one off.
Got it.
And then you have one that says S11 return loss. Change that to Smith chart.
There we go. Nice.
Okay, now you're good. You can close it out.
All right.
So Don asked if we saw his question. I missed it. I apologize. Can you hot tune with a roller inductor?
We covered it.
We did. Okay.
Now you might want to mess with it. Now in the center of your screen, you have your marker table. If you put your mouse on the right-hand side of that, you should be able to slide that marker table over to the right. A little bit more. Go to the go left, go left, go left. I'm sorry. There you go. You just added that double and slide it left. I mean, there you go.
Like
I
that.
don't know why. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know why you're.
Do I need all this crap?
You don't.
Okay. We're just be looking at the graphs, right? So let me just try to do this.
All right. And so with your antenna, what frequency are we going to try to tune?
Well, let me show
you. You're not connected to your VNA.
The VNA is connected to the computer, not the antenna.
He's asking, is it still better to have a tuner closer to the feed point, or is an external tuner just another myth? My personal opinion is that closer to the feed point of the antenna is less SWR on your transmission line, and that means less peaks and valleys in voltage and stuff like that, and less back and forth. So the answer is yes. A tuner to your antenna feed point is probably the best. Oh, here's the problem.
Yep.
See, he starts with this kind of crap, and now we got.
Hold on. No, I just wanted to show you what SWR we're dealing with. Hold on. Well, it wasn't tuned earlier. How can that
Now let's refresh everybody. What antenna?
It's running through the tuner.
What antenna is connected to your analyzer right now?
You know what? It's running through the tuner, so it's tuned. When I tested it, I did it straight to the antenna.
You have a tune on/off button on that antenna tuner, and I
yeah,
believe it's right above that red button. Yep.
There we go. Is that better?
Well,
we can't see anything in the Nano VNA.
No,
but
software.
when the button is pushed in, that is tuner engaged, and then when the button is clicked out, that is tuner disengaged.
How about 40 meters? It's 25 right now.
Let's try it.
Right.
Yeah, you got.
I'll be impressed. I will.
You want the Nano VNA?
Connect to device at the bottom.
Yeah,
Connect to device. Yep.
Okay.
There we go. Now we're live. Hey.
All right. So if we're gonna do 40 meters, let's change our start frequency to say like 5 megahertz up in the top left-hand corner.
Oh, I can do it all in software. Sweet. 5, you said?
Yeah, 5 megahertz. I think that probably said. There you go. And then change that to like 10.
All right.
And then hit sweep settings.
All right.
And then there should be a continuous sweep in the middle radio button.
Right there.
Okay, you just close that window.
All right. Whoop.
Don't hit that. Oh, yep, close it out.
I hit set band sweep, so it changed everything.
Who told you to do that? Did Ziggy tell you to do that?
No. Okay. Let's do this again. What was it again? What megahertz?
That's the new 5.
5 megahertz. Whoops. I'll learn this software eventually. And this was what?
With 10 megahertz.
10 megahertz. All right. We're back set.
Now keep in mind this is not calibrated, right? So everybody just calm yourself down. Now hit the sweep button.
I did follow your video before the stream and calibrate it, just so you know.
All right. Well, let's hit the sweep button.
Sweep.
That's sweep settings, the sweep button.
Oh, got it. Okay. It's on continuous. Now I do this.
My opinion on the AT100M ATU, I think I have a video on that and I use it.
You sent me one.
So right now that's showing. So if you look on your Smith chart, you have a marker and you have a little small green line on all the way over to the
Right over here.
right, and that's showing you that you have an infinite SWR condition right now, and that's probably because everything's so high. On the other chart where you have your S11 VSWR, you can see that there's actually a dotted line up there, which means that it's beyond what the Nano VNA can display on this particular chart. If you right click where it says S11,
right here.
Yeah, you have something that says data access.
Yes.
And then I think you can change that maximum. I think you can change it past 25 if you click that. And just type in 50, for example.
All right.
So you're actually beyond 50. So you're sure that your tuner is not bypassed right now, right?
It should be bypassed. I think he bypassed it already.
It's bypassed now.
Yeah. You need when you push it in, the button needs to be like engaged into the tuner, and that's when it's engaged.
Yeah, unbypass it.
It's sticking out. Now it's tuned. It's on tune.
And nothing changed. Now start twisting your inductor.
Do you have are you plugged into the right port on your Nano VNA?
It would help if I'm plugged into the Nano VNA.
Oh.
Good gracious! I'll tell you what.
This is why we're plugged into a rig expert.
Still the rig expert. Am I?
This is what I get for dealing with amateurs.
S11, right?
There you go.
All right, there we go.
All right, so we got a little bit of a challenge here.
Besides me,
where you have hit stops, hit the stop for your sweep.
Okay.
And then see where you have segments. It says 1. Change that to 10. Go up.
Segments.
Keep going up a little bit more. Up. Yeah, there you go. Change that to 10.
Oh,
down. There you go. Right where it says segments. SEGMENTS.
Can you spell that?
Now hit the sweep button again.
All right.
Now see how you have a more defined lines here.
Yeah.
So
now we're connected.
Yeah. So what we want is that we want the dip that we have over there to be more towards 7. You said you wanted to be on 40 meters, right?
So somewhere here to the left of 7.5, right?
I'll tell you right now that you're looking at the wrong chart, Paul. Get that mouse cursor towards the Smith chart.
Oh, up here. I thought he was talking about this, bringing this.
No, he is.
Here. Oh, okay.
Yep, but you want that triangle to land in the center of that Smith chart.
Well, it depends on what his triangle marker. So that marker number 1, he's got it at 5 megahertz.
Oh,
so change that to 7 point whatever you want.
You gotta stop your scan though.
So I would do 7.074, which would be the 40 meter FT8 frequency.
Okay.
Yep. And
now hit sweep again.
Okay.
Okay, so that red marker, we want that in as close to the center of the Smith chart that we can get it. Right now, it's off the chart on the one that's below there. So let's go ahead and move that.
I get that a lot though about this my YouTube channel is it's off the charts.
Yeah, I'm sure. So let's adjust the inductor.
Okay.
And then make sure your capacitors are 50%, right?
So you want them at 5 because the capacity. You're talking about the
yes.
So mine are labeled transmission and antenna.
You only have two.
And then I have the inductance.
Okay, so transmission's radio, antenna. So transmission and antenna are capacitors. The inductance is the. There we go. See how we're starting to come in here. Now, what is your inductance at right now?
The inductance is at letter E,
You know,
whatever that
it's
is.
gonna be a
Now,
E,
what
so
was
this
it?
is
What
gonna
was
be
it
about
before?
halfway.
I didn't move it. I just moved the other two to number
Okay.
5 halfway through.
So we're hot tuning. So let's move that inductance to D and see what happens.
D, okay.
We're hot tuning on some milliwatts, folks.
Okay, so let's move it to G.
Keep going.
Okay.
Okay,
No,
so
I-
now we're
Getting closer.
move it to H.
H,
Let's do
Getting
move it to
closer.
I.
I,
Nope, too far.
All right, so go back to H.
all right. Just showing them what I can do here.
Not the same result. Or no, it is. It's such a slow refresh.
It is, and we can manipulate that to speed it up as
You're
we get.
upside down on
Maybe
it.
we can tighten up the sweep there.
We can.
Yeah, maybe we should
Yeah.
do that.
You're a little upside down there, Paul.
I
It's
know.
perfect.
I'm working on it.
It's just inverted. It's no big deal. Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
What do you want me to do? I think I'm on. What am I on? I'm on
K. No.
I'm on H.
E, F, G, H.
So take the antenna knob, and then you want to kind of manipulate that a little bit. Are you on H? I thought we wanted to be on I.
Oh, I thought you said go back. Okay.
Oh,
No,
well,
you
hold on a
told him
second.
you told him go back to H.
Okay, go stay on H.
Okay, we're on H. So when he's talking
Like,
about
where
the
did you get this camera?
it's just-
Timu?
this knob is just sets. It just goes around and just changes it to those different inductance.
Okay.
So everyone knows. So you want me to start with transmitter?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know the lag time here. I don't know how slow I
Okay,
should
go
be.
the other direction.
Lower.
This is too painful, guys. We're gonna have to stop this and tighten up that sweep time.
Is there a way to speed that up?
Yeah, we can tighten up the sweep.
Well, there's
The
two things
sweep
you can do. You can drop your segments to like 7.
How broad is he starting? He's doing 5 to 10. We should do like from 7 to 7.
Well, the thing is he's not going to be able to see where the dip is if he does that.
Oh,
So
okay,
maybe
that's-
tighten it to 6 and 9.
Yeah, 6 and 9. I'd go with that. Or 6
Not
and 8.
not that knob. We're talking about 6. We're talking about 6 and 9 in the software.
Oh, okay. Segment
Megs, yeah.
6.
Megs.
6 megs.
6 megs to 9 megs. Or 6 megs to 8 megs. Because we're doing 7 megahertz here.
8 megs.
And then change that segments to 7.
7.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, now hit sweep.
Okay.
It should be a little bit quicker.
All right, so let's talk about what we see real quick. And what we see is that your marker, the red marker for the frequency of interest,
Mm-hmm.
that is below the equator on the Smith chart. So you're more capacitive than inductive right now. So what we want to do is we want to lower our capacitance. So you would think that you'd want to turn those things down, but actually to lower it, you want to turn those knobs up. So that would be the first thing that we want to do. And did your marker move? So your marker's now at 7.18. So you must have done something. So change that back, and you can do this hot. So you just
these are still at 5, so I moved them back to 5. Do we want to
leave them right there in the software? Marker number 1 says 7.18. We want to say 7.074.
okay.
I think it automatically shifted him.
I think it did.
It probably automatically shifted when he changed the segments.
Yeah. Also, too, folks, manual tuning is a two-handed sport.
Well, give me a break. Okay.
Okay, so it should be going a little bit faster. So what I would do is I'd take a look at that inductance and turn it, if you're on H, turn it to G for a second and see what happens. Okay.
There's G. It went up a bit.
That might even be fine there. Let's go back to H.
Okay.
He's so damn close. I bet you he could tune that in with the capacitors.
I bet he could too.
Yeah, nope, too far.
Oh, that's H.
Go back.
Go back to G. Now this looks like a giant pain in the ass, but the first couple times you do this, you can remember what the settings are for your antenna on the tuner, and it becomes
Oh
much
yeah,
simpler.
you're so close. Yep, you should be able to fix that.
So look at let's adjust the transmitter side and just slowly go up and down, very slowly, and we should be moving that dip to the left is what we want to have happen.
It's
Okay, so that's you want to go the other direction.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
So we're trying to bring that dip further to the left with the inductance, right?
Yeah, keep
With
going.
the capacitance.
I mean the capacitance. The on mine it says the transmitter, I guess.
You're doing great, Paul. Keep going.
Okay.
Put that triangle down there in the basement where it belongs.
Now here's the other thing: is these two dials will spin continuously.
Yeah,
Correct.
but look where now. So you went a little too far.
Okay.
So split the
Let me bring
baby
it
and
up a
hit
little
the other
bit.
capacitor.
Hold on, just a little bit more.
I'm gonna let it move one more time here. Okay.
Oh man, that's a big old jump there, Paul.
I know, but look, it doesn't move it much.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you need to do next? Your other capacitor.
I'm waiting for Ape to tell me.
There you go, the other capacitor.
Now, let's see. I'm going to guess to the right. Oh, yeah.
Bam. Nailed it.
All right, so what we want to do is now in the software, we want to right click where, remember we right clicked and we changed that from 25 to 50?
Somewhere now. I can't remember where that
It was where it says S11 on the chart, on the bottom chart.
Oh, that's right. Access.
And then go to data access and then go down to where it says maximum 50.
Back to 25.
And then I change it to 10 at this point.
Oh, 10. Okay. And that's just the maximum of this chart, right? The height.
That's right. Your vertical axis.
There we go. Okay, cool.
Okay, so now it's going to be even easier to manipulate this as we zero it in.
And are we wanting that triangle at the bottom of the dip, or what?
We do. We do, because that triangle is at our frequency of interest.
Gotcha. Okay. And have we decided that FT8 is what we're trying to do tonight?
We did.
Okay.
Now, we hid your marker table, so we can't see what your SWR is.
I see that upper line is 2.5, so he's under 2.5.
Oh, is that on the camera? Let me get rid of the camera. Hold on. I just wanted so people could see what I was doing there.
That's fine, but remember we slid the marker table over. Do you remember that?
Oh,
now
do you want me to show that again?
Yeah, if you can.
If I can grab it. No, it's not moving. Do I have to stop sweep?
You shouldn't have to.
Oh, there we go.
That's good enough.
Is that enough? Okay.
So that should tell us. Oh, you got to move it just a little bit more.
All right. I think it's in steps. I think it'll go one more step over. Oh, there we go.
There you go. So right now you're at 1 to 1.7.
Right here?
Yep.
Okay.
So what you can do now, and like look at your red marker and see how close it is to the equator. So on the equator means you're not inductive and you're not capacitive. You're still slightly capacitive. You can see that in your marker table. So if you look at where it says impedance, it gives you an ohmic number, and then it says negative J131 ohms.
Okay. Yeah, that's right up here.
So we're close to where we want to be. Now, most people would want to win a 50 ohm match. So what we can do now is we can go back to making adjustments of the inductance and see if that makes any difference here, because now our inductive composition is different because we've changed our capacitance.
All right. Should I go towards J or should I go backwards?
You pick. I don't know what it's going to be.
All right. Let's go to H. Or no, this
Okay, you don't want to go that way.
Yeah, that's H. So let's go back G again, and let's go to F. There's F.
Yeah, that's not helping us
Part of the left. Well, that went lower. Now, what if I bring it back? Is that not how that works?
Well, yeah. So what it did is it raised your SWR because you got further from the center of the Smith chart.
Okay, I was thinking we can't bring that lower dip now to the right.
What I would do is I would go back to where you were, and then I would go back to the transmit side of your capacitor, and I would manipulate that.
Okay. All right.
Now, keep in mind, this thing was above this. This thing was like 50 to 1, right? So we've tuned it from 51 to 1.7, which is pretty dang wide.
Yeah.
That's huge. It's more than my auto tuner can do.
What antenna are we on right now?
So it's about, I was going to cut this for 40 meter. So it's probably 68 feet. It's a little bit longer than a 40 meter length. And I was just going to trim it back, but I thought it's perfect for tonight because it's not tuned on anything. As you could see, it was 25 to 1 on 40 meters.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's a really out of whack antenna. So this
Now, I have
is a great one.
question.
Trying to move this.
This-
It's not, oh, there, it's the wrong way.
At this point, once we get right in the middle of the Smith chart, I question my inductance sometimes, and I go ahead and just kind of bop from the left to the right and just see if it gets any better.
Yeah.
Or worse, because there's always the possibility that you've got the capacitance correct, but not the inductance still yet.
Mm-hmm.
Worth a shot.
We just did that though, right? What are we on now?
But I
we back?
always do the inductive part, and then I do the capacitive part, and then I go back to the inductive part again.
Thanks, Starman. Glad you like it.
I'm on the transmitter, so we're doing the transmitter capacitance, right? And it is bringing it down.
What I'm saying is,
slowly.
just for fun, just on the inductive side, just click it one to the left, and if it's bad, go back where you were, and then click it one to the right, and if it's bad, go back to where you were. All right, so that's bad. Now try the other side of that. And that's bad too. All right, so that's how I can tell you that we are on the right path as far as the inductive setting.
So by doing that, we know that this is the best inductance setting.
That's what I'm
well, but you could if you went back, where were you just now?
I think it was H.
Yeah.
Oh no. Sorry, it was F. That's F.
Okay, so right there, you actually have a dip that's lower than where we were. So you could go back to manipulating the capacitance now.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. That's what I was trying to get at. Just because you got it matched on one inductive setting doesn't mean that there's not a better one somewhere else after you've played with it on the capacitive side. Because we don't always start out at the best capacitive value.
There you go. Now, see, it's rising up. Should I be using the? I'm using the transmitter dial of the two, and it's moving it further up. Should I do the other one? The antenna one?
Yeah.
See which way this goes.
Hollywood says, "Look at
that."
Yeah.
So whatever way you just went, go a little bit more.
Yeah.
Hollywood says, look at the curve on the Smith chart when you switch the inductor. That line passes closer to the center of the chart.
Let's go back a little bit. Man, see, it's really touchy now. So we've got...
Hide that Hollywood comment for me so I can see the bottom chart. There you go.
Here we go.
Oh man,
now
that's even better.
This is really touchy right here. I gotta just barely turn it. There we go.
Look at that. Just whatever direction you just turned it, just do it just a smidge more. Oh, go the other direction.
Went too far. That's pretty good.
So it's like a 1.7. So going from a 50 to a 1.7 is pretty dang good. In a situation like this, I would say trim off some of that antenna. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say
again, it is longer, like I said.
That's too much, you know.
So yeah, if we trimmed it, we easily get it down to probably easily 1.5, right?
You could probably get it to 1:1. So the thing is that what we did here is we talked a little bit about SWR, we talked a little bit about reactance, so we understand what that is, and then we connected it to a nano VNA so we can see in real time what happens when we manipulate reactive components that are in circuit with our antenna.
Mm-hmm.
And then we use the software to be able to visually depict what's going on. So while we didn't hit a 1:1 SWR, we've learned stuff, right? So we now have tools in our tool belt that would help us use a manual tuner. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And these do have, like this one does have the oh, it's not showing. Hold on. It does have the analog needles here. which I've used in the past before I knew about nano VNA. And I went to the loudest noise on the inductor there on the left, and then I fine-tuned with the capacitant knobs on the right until I got that SWR down. That's how I was doing it before I knew about nano VNA.
Well, once you get good at this, that's how you're going to do it moving forward. The reason I like to demonstrate it with the software like this is because it gives a nice, easy visual depiction as to what's taking place.
Yeah.
And people are used to looking at these SWR charts.
Yeah. This is kind of addicting, somewhat like the antenna modeling software was, right? Because you can, I'm going to move this counterpoise this way, or I'm going to add another element this direction. It's kind of addicting in that way when you go to software like this.
Yeah, 100%.
So explain that Smith chart with the blue and the red. Are we not wanting that? Should that not be in the center line there, or is that?
Ignore that blue marker.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, that blue marker is just a BS marker. But
That's
the
start
thing
of-
is,
actually, or the end, one or the other.
yeah. So the thing is that you want that to be right in the center of your Smith chart.
Yeah.
So the center of the Smith chart, the bullseye, is the characteristic impedance for the calibration that you applied. In your case, a 50 ohm resistive load
Mhm.
to your nano VNA. Ideally, that's the best spot. So the SWR chart, and I have a video called SWR charts for Smith charts for dummies. It's pretty complex, right? So you have reactive circles, you have an SWR circle, you have admittance circles. And really what we are concerned about mostly for today's conversation is the equator, the line that goes right across the center, being the mark of zero reactance. Above that is inductive reactance. Typically, antennas that are too long present themselves as inductive, and then antennas that are too short present themselves as reactive. So based off of the tuning, not your antenna, right? Because the tuner does not tune the antenna. Based off of where you're tuned right now, you are at a capacitive measurement, right? So it's saying that, hey, we're a little too short for the frequency of interest because our marker is below the equator.
Yeah, okay.
Now, if I could add, KS0JD makes a great point. Once you have the antenna set, you can always have a little notebook dedicated directly to your manual tuner and be like, okay, I'm on this antenna and I want to go to 40 meters. I need to be on, letter H, and I need, my transmitter to be at, 11 o'clock, and I need my antenna to be at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
That was my only question, was with my capacitance knobs, because they keep spinning. It's kind of hard. I mean, basically, should they just stay within the 0 to 10, which is this? It's printed on the top half. Okay, so going further than that is kind of is not helpful at all.
You will find yourself actually going. I find myself going beyond them sometimes, and I go, okay, I'm on the other side of the capacitor again, which is fine. It just means you're,
trying to see if I get it back down. Nope, I can't quite get it back down there for some reason.
There's actually another 0 to 10 on the other side.
Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty cool. And this is the nano VNA, so relatively inexpensive tool, and the software, is downloaded for free. And so check out Ape's video. Did you say you have it's a playlist that kind of talks about the Smith chart and nano VNA and stuff, or are they separate?
I have a nano VNA playlist, and then I have a playlist on antenna tuners.
Okay, because I've seen a lot of your videos, but I didn't know I haven't watched them in playlist or any type of format. I just have watched them as I found them.
So the Tortoise is asking, so the nano VNA has 2 ports. It has an S11 and an S21 port. Sometimes they're called port 0 and port 1. You want your port 0 or S11 going from the nano VNA into the tuner input. Then you have the tuner output going to your antenna. We are not running our radio through the nano VNA. If you do that, you're going to definitely smoke the nano VNA. The reason we're using the nano VNA is just to depict graphically what happens when we manipulate the inductors and capacitors in the tuner.
Yeah, mine's on the simple side. It was something I got when I was a new ham, so it was probably the cheapest one I could possibly get. But it works.
Yeah, I mean, you could do this with a rig expert, God forbid, but you could do the same thing.
Well, that's actually what I did. So after you agreed to come on, I did. It was a different antenna I pulled out. It was like a 9-to-1 or something. might have said this offline. And I went ahead and messed with it, connected to my rig expert and played with it and got it down to like 1 point something. So I got the gist of it, but I didn't see it in this kind of detail. I was just looking at a single number.
Right.
This kind of gives you the concept and how it works. Like, so this is the better way to look at it.
When you start tuning with your live radio in real time, and I always make sure to have my 7300 set to meter, right? That way I can see all the parameters. I can see, everything that's going on. When I move up and down a couple hundred kc,
Yeah.
in real time, as I'm talking, I can sit there and just twist any knob. I'll just pick one, not the inductive one, and the two capacitive ones, and I can actually go, oh, it's a little too far, maybe the other way, and then oh, it drops way down to 0. I'm like, oh, perfect. So there is a bit of live tuning that you can do, and again, it's something that you're going to get better with practice.
So
Hey,
that's the
man.
nano. So you pick those up. I don't know what they run now, but they're cheap, and this is an older one. I think the one you had, Ape, has like a 4-inch screen. So
I've got a lot of them, but yes,
Yeah.
I have a 7-inch screen one. And the Nano VNA is one of the best things I bought for amateur radio. Like I really learned a lot about antennas by getting the Nano VNA and learning how to use it.
Well, and you showed me. I made a TID radio video today, and I had to go back to reference your video because I forget how to do harmonics when you're testing and then radio. So you got great videos on that as well, showing how to use the Nano VNA to test harmonics and all that kind of stuff.
Well, thank you for the plug.
Yeah,
I try, man. And I just, I'm not an expert in it, and I'm just a regular ham like everybody else. And I just try to share the stuff that I learn along my amateur radio thing with folks.
I've been a spider monkey for quite a while.
For a minute, I was like, what the is he talking about?
The only reason I chose that is because it's
That's the
hilarious.
level
It's one of my
viewer.
favorite movies.
That's funny.
Spider monkey.
Well, hey man, we're starting to get to. I'm a working man. Like I'm not one of these guys that doesn't work like y'all. So I gotta get some beauty sleep, man. I gotta rise and shine and do stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
One quick question here: why would a radio fold back power in a setup with an antenna tuner?
It shouldn't fold back at 1.5.
Yeah.
So there's a problem somewhere, and I'm going to suspect the Nano VNA is not calibrated correctly. Thank you, Hollywood. And then if that's not it, I'm going to suspect that there's something wrong with your radio causing it to fold back. It shouldn't start to fold back till you get closer to 2, and even at that point, the fold back should be relatively low.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep him any longer. And my wife will be happy for that as well, that I don't stay up too late. Last week, I think we did 2.5 hours. So let's not repeat that. So again, on tape, you keep putting out your great content. You're going to go ahead, Michael.
No, so pretty heavy technical, 2 technical weeks in a row, but I'm grasping on what I can, where I can, and a lot of people in the chat are just saying, "Man, that you just opened my eyes." So
I'm glad it helped. I'm glad it helped everybody.
Yeah, definitely some good reference videos that we're making here.
Well, and the cool thing I like about this is Ape is showing me hands-on, and Ziggy's done this too, and Hollywood helped with the modeling last year, is actually how to use this stuff. I've sat here and played with these things and can't figure out, well, I don't know what setting to set here and to set there, and now we know. So,
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times we buy this stuff and it's intimidating, right? Like when I got a Nano VNA, I turned it on, saw all these lines. I'm like, I'm never going to figure this out. We got TENNA, same thing. We got the manual tuner, same thing. And it's all, just remember, at first things are confusing, right? And then it's going to seem like magic, and then you're going to have understanding, and it's going to seem like science. That's just the way everything works.
Right.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again, Ape. Always a great presentation, having you on. Finally getting you on video.
No, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
And we'll put to rest that you are a manual tuner, man. Not.
I was always a disciple of use an automatic antenna tuner because it's fast. It's easy, right? You don't have to do anything. You just change frequencies, key up, and it's done. That was a good looking baby.
You very cute baby. Very cute baby. All right, everybody. 73. Say your goodbyes, and we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Ragchew, everybody.
Thanks.
See you guys.